Welcome back, everybody. Here we go. Second last week of League of Inches Supercoach, round 26 episode. Who knows what we're doing at finals so far? I have absolutely no idea. I haven't even got around to speaking to the boys about what we're doing, comps are running, things like that. But who knows? I will let you know soon. It must be said, this is a tough week to be doing any kind of Supercoach content, let alone an hour podcast of just Supercoach dribble. So I'm having a feeling that this episode could be quite dribbly. We will still try. There is still some pressing issues, but we've got a few little rules in place off air we spoke about that will hopefully get us through, and we'll just see where we go. I'll be honest up front. There might be a smile on my face, but I'm faking it. Quite emotional at the moment, guys. It's been a tough, probably 3 weeks of Supercoach for me. I was up with the top dogs. I was up in that top 1K. I've slipped down, I don't know, quicker than I'm on a wet and wild slippery slide. Really, it hasn't been a good time for me, but we'll go into it a bit more. Shout out to Caxton Street Brewing Company, sponsor, and also to Connet Freedom Finance Group. Let's go to Trav first about. Actually, sorry, no, it's me first because I was dog shit this week again. Just a little bit of a heads up here, and just a warning. We all did terribly this week, even our top score. I think it's fair to say, boys, it wasn't a fantastic score compared to what we have seen out there. So
yep,
it's been a tough one, hasn't it?
It was bad. It was bad. I'll let Trav have his input, but my side of things, it was really, really bad. In case you're wondering. I'd love for that week to just vanish.
You know, Joel was talking around the start of the podcast about dribble, and we just listened to his dribble for 2 minutes, man. It was what a terrible way to start. Dribble. What a whinge too. What a whinge fest. Right. Way to bring everyone down, Joel. Jesse, we need to do something to perk this up because Joel's just, oh man,
Guess what, everyone?
I'm grand so final unmotivated.
It's grand final out there for a lot of head-to-heads, for a lot of drafts. There's a lot of happy super coaches still amidst all the very low scores from last round, but there's plenty to look forward.
And guys, that's enough of Jesse's happiness. No, look, to be fair, Jesse is in the grand final of our draft Div 1 competition. And I think he's in a couple of head-to-head grand finals as well. Are you?
Not anymore.
Oh,
nope.
Sorry, that's a
very quick
point. But he is a draft player. He's not a classic player anymore, so he probably won't talk much about classic tonight. He will be all about his draft side. But I'll start us off. I got 1,204 on the weekend. How I got to the 1,200 mark, I actually don't know. I was so set on like a 1,100 low score and just being like, that just sums me up. I went down 1,150 spots. I am now ranked season rank of 3,580. Why that happened? And the same as everything the last couple of weeks, my team has just decided to go to Bali already. They've got no interest whatsoever of playing the big games. I'm not playing in any head-to-head grand finals this week, and I played in one semi-final on the weekend. So my boys have packed up, gone. See you later. Who was next out of you two? I haven't even looked at it.
Oh, did you outscore me?
Trav. Go on, Trav.
I'm next. You outscored me.
There you go.
Yeah, so I got 1251.
You outscored me.
Did I?
Yeah, man.
Oh, he's played
Certainly
that.
did. Step aside, boy. The chumps are talking first.
Yeah, okay.
I scored 1230.
Oh, yeah, you did too. Jeez, you suck, man. Oh, yeah, no, anyway,
dude,
I'll let you go.
Rubbish. Absolute crud. So what happened, right? Just to sort of touch on what happened last week. I hope Joel doesn't mute me because I will dribble. He was obviously wanting me to use my final trade. I had no intention to. There's a couple of good players that we were talking about, and there was a few that were on my radar. And obviously all this talk about Lomax being out, which I'd actually never saw anyone talking about Lomax being out, barring NRL Physio, who is very, very reputable. So I was like, okay, this is weird. I've not seen any rumors, but he's, going on about this Lomax out. Turns out Lomax wasn't out. and I used my last trade to get Garrick out, and then took a punt that Lomax was going to be out. Didn't happen. So, we spoke about some really good players last week. I sort of look forward to the last round, and I thought I'm not going to have a 5-8. So I grabbed Dewey, who I was also pretty keen on with the 5-8 duel. And he ended on 7, while the alternatives in Tuivasa-Sheck got 108 and Staggs got 109. So everyone else would have done really well, and I traded in the guy that got his face caved in and is now gone for the season, and I have no trades. So yeah, I have no trades now, and I took the reserve off Purdue to play Dewey, even though I was keen on playing Purdue. Everything went wrong, and I captained Teddy, so I was just like, "Thanks, Supercoach gods, you cucks sitting in the corner laughing." I'm so salty.
I'm sorry, but this
either way,
the ultimate story of the Supercoach gods coming down on you and punishing you.
Yeah,
karma for not going all in with me and Trav on the week that we did. It was gonna happen. I knew all along it was gonna happen. Whoever you traded in was gonna go horribly, and unfortunately meant a season injury as well. I think both me and Trav last week told you Staggs was the play. I'm pretty sure
Staggs looked like the play. I was very keen on Staggs, and I was just like kind of overthinking it, and I did, and I've just fucking got it wrong. And that's what happens. Like, I'm not going to expect Dewey to get his face caved in. At worst, I was expecting like a 50 or 60.
And cover next week, and now you've got.
And yeah, is what it is. Oh well.
Well done. What is your total points? I forgot to say mine, just so everyone can keep up with the battle. I'm 31,494.
I'm on 31,554, and I'm season ranked 3,076. So I had a 905 rank drop. So here's me talking about how I hate really being around the 2K, and I can't get away from it. Now I'm at 3K. Shit.
So just keeping numbers, I'm about 50 points off you at the moment, so it's still pretty close. Trav, talk to us.
So as I said before, I got 1251. So yeah, I actually forgot that I won this weekend between the three of us, but to be fair, I didn't win anything because I dropped 755 ranks to 3,125, and I still haven't quite caught Jesse at 31,548 is my total score. I'm 6 points off you, Jesse, but to be fair,
wow,
there ain't no chance. I got no chance, and we'll talk about it as we go.
Wow. That's tight.
Yeah, like just unfortunately, like for me, Harry Grant gets that sin bin. So there's 10 minutes of no play plus the points lost, get suspended from it. So now I've got a mess around with him. I've already got Herbie and Garrick because I can't trade them out because I got no trades. So yeah, it was just one of those weeks, right? I just don't have the troops. I was and until this. I said to everybody, I was literally just a suspension or a couple of injuries away. And I knew when I brought in Cleary a few weeks ago, it was the weekend that Herbie also got hurt on that Friday. And I was like, I'm still going to do it because I want Cleary. I'm not going to get Wishart, and I've got pretty good depth, but this is going to, I can just see this costing me big time. And then Garrett gets injured the week after, and now Penrith have then rested their whole team. Grant gets suspended for the rest of the year, and yeah, I'm just, it is what it is. I can't sort of get around it. I unfortunately captained Teddy. I originally had, and this is one of the messages I've got in big, bold writing, which I won't give too much away for our end of year Supercoach review, but I originally had the V on Teddy and the C on Drinkwater. And obviously that cost me 66 points. So, you know, yeah, it is what it is. Like, it's don't change last minute. That's one of my points, and that's where I'm at.
I think we all ended up seeing Teddy as well. Jesse, you did as well, didn't you? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I did.
And we just it just shows you again how crucial it is getting your captains right. And I think my biggest thing the last 3 weeks has actually just coincided with not having the right captain like every week. So last week I sort of not went safe, but I went for a guy who I thought could get me a solid 80 and 90 in the front rower, May, where this week was the week to go Haas, and I just didn't, and I went Teddy, and if I went Haas, it would have been much better looking score for myself, but just little things like that. It happens every week, and that's the big thing I looked at. A lot of these teams so far have also, and I think it's fair to, we'll quickly touch on it before we get into some of these talking points, but I'm happy to put my hand up now, guys, and declare that my tactics this year, I've got them wrong. I've gone way too hard trades-wise. It's really hurt me now. Sitting there just clinging on for all hope. We've all sort of done the similar style, I believe. Do you think we've done it the wrong way? Or would you look back and try and think or rethink your strategy? It's probably something we'll touch on again at the end of the season in a couple of weeks' time, but we're all sitting here now, no trades left, scratching for numbers for this week. And some of the numbers we do have, not pretty. They're probably 30-odd scores, things like that. What are you thinking, Jesse? I know you think a lot into this sort of stuff. Are you thinking you've done well strategy-wise?
It's easy to say in hindsight, no. And I think that's the sort of way you got to look at it. Like, around 26, I can go back on a whole bunch of decisions I made or didn't make throughout the year and go, oh, if only I did that, if only I did this. And then, if only I did that, I would have won Supercoach. Like, it's just as simple as that. And honestly, it only takes 2 or 3 bad decisions and you don't have a chance at winning. And I noticed that in 2023. I got 3 things wrong. And if I didn't, I won. And that was like, oh, that's heartbreak. You know what I mean? Sitting at 3,000, I'm 1,000, 2,000 points away from first. It is what it is. There's a few bad decisions there. I would say personally, anyway, like obviously captains, it's all about, you just can't predict it. Like this year, it's been shithouse. No trades have been proactive. They've all been reactive injury trades, which doesn't help build a future team in sight. We've all lost pretty much half our center wing that we had initially anyway. So things have to change so quick that there is no real set plan. Score well, but all in all, I guess if I had to put it down to one thing, I would say I haven't pulled the trigger enough this year, and that has cost me more than doing stuff in general. It's the indecision and not pulling the trigger that I can go back this year and go, that's where I really got it wrong. Where if I just go back to the seasons of past where I've done really well, it's just I'll just do it, just get it done, and just go for the gut feel and the hunch. And I just haven't really seemed to have had a gut feel this year that I've really been set on. And don't know for whatever reason that is. This year I have not had a gut feel on pretty much anyone, and it shows. So
I think you're spot on with what you said about the injury side of things, and a lot of it's been reactive, which I remember there's been a number of weeks where I've looked at things and been like, yep, I'm getting that guy in next week. And then all of a sudden I've got 3 or 4 injuries in my squad. And I've got to use 2, maybe 3 if I boost trades, basically just fixing that up when the guy I originally wanted to trade and I left money for, things like that. It's just all gone pear-shaped. So it has been a very tough year that way in that side of things. Trav, what's your thoughts around it? Obviously, like I said, we'll go much deeper into this in a couple of weeks' time for those that are interested to hear it all. But what are you thinking at the moment with sitting there, no trades, struggling for numbers like I think I am as well, and I think Jesse might be?
No.
Oh, Jesse said it really nicely. Like hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? Hindsight would make life so much easier. I thought when I made my trades, or when I had that last one and I used those last 2 trades and went Wishart and Cleary, that I had depth and I had everything going. You just can't predict what's going to happen. Like we knew resting was going to happen, but did we predict that a team was going to rest 16 guys? Like it just, you can't predict those things, and that's just the way it is. And you can't play for suspensions. You can't play for injuries. Joel, you made a good point too. Like there was 4 injuries that happened during the week. So at training, particularly hamstrings and stuff, and syndesmosis injuries that I had to make trades for. Like I've never had, I feel like this year there's been so many training injuries than during the game injuries that I've had to deal with before. So there's one point. Like you're right, Jesse, in terms of like the indecision. I think one of my biggest ones was that I looked too much at the content, and I looked and particularly around what is the rest of the pack doing and what's the percentages. Like this weekend I captained Teddy when I didn't really want to, but that's because 50% in the top 10% captained Teddy. And I was like, well, if I miss out on that, I'm going to be in that 50% that's going to stuff up, and so I'll watch 50% go up. And that's the fine line that we play in doing podcasts and writing content, because we sit there and look at all these numbers and do these things instead of just, like you said, Jesse, have that gut feel of doing things. There was heaps of trades that I've said on this podcast that I wanted to do and that I would have done, and I didn't because it was such a low percentage amount that was coming through or that sort of thing. So, and I've got a big list of it, and I'll talk about it more in a few weeks. But yeah, that's a bit of a snapshot.
Yeah. Let's tackle this week. Again, another weekend where shit's hit the fan. It's fair to say. Let's get stuck in it. We will talk about this more tomorrow night or tonight, whenever you guys listen to this for the Wednesday night live show. There is some talking points to come out of this, but Penrith basically have rested their entire squad, apart from Matt Eisenhuth, who is captain of this side now. There is way too many changes to go into. Like I said, he's literally their side. So go and look at the side if you want to check, and you might have guys who you were having as AEs that are now named, things like that. So this impacts, I think this impacts you two more than it does me. I think I've got Cleary and Edwards, but I think you both have Yo as well, don't you?
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
Thoughts?
Not anymore though. Well, I was banking on him playing this week. I was kind of hoping he was. Obviously, I was hoping Cleary and Edwards were playing too, naturally, but I saw yesterday that they looked like they were out. I built my team and took the reserves off them just to structure it, providing they were out, which they are. I still have a player on the pine that I'm not reserving this week, so I've got 19 options. So I'm personally okay. I know Trav is not. I know there's a lot of people that are not. So. Yeah, look, mass restings in round 26 were very unexpected, especially for the Panthers. But what do you do? What do you do? It just one of those things is why, we all don't none of us have trades, but we all know leading up to this end of the season that we need them. And we talk about, I'll stash a few for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it'd be gold now. It'd be really
and that's
good,
the thing, just quickly dating back what I said earlier, I'm kicking myself, but also I did get to go inside the 1K, which is pretty cool. I haven't done that before. So if I didn't make all those trades when I did, I wouldn't have got to that. So right. And that was pretty cool in itself. Trav, I'll let you say any of your part on the Yo stuff, but if you wanted to kick us off as well, the Bulldogs have rested Kickow. That's in the same game. So a bit of carnage in that one.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say on the on Penrith. I am a Yo owner, unfortunately. But when I heard yesterday that they were resting all their players, it's like, surely Yo's not. He's just come back from injury and he played 50 minutes last week. He needs to get the minutes in his body. And needless to say, he was there. So unfortunately, yeah. I have heard that Kickow's got some sort of skin condition or something. Is that
it's
right?
An infection. It's another infection.
Yeah.
Year of infection.
It is. It's actually been really bad. There's infections every week. It's insane.
Yeah, so not rested, but yeah, so yeah, that hurts. It definitely hurts. Kickow's is well owned in the top 10%, so that hurts. It's just another name. I don't have him myself. Did tell a lot of people to get him who were looking for advice. So yeah, again, that does hurt, but I like it for Preston, and I'm a happy Preston owner.
Dewey, your boy Jesse unfortunately did get in. You've already mentioned him a little bit, but he's obviously confirmed season is over. He'll be out for a couple of months, unfortunately. Horrible looking injuries, face went straight away. And unfortunate because I believe he was the highest traded in last week. And
he was.
Yeah, there's a lot of hurting Supercoaches because I've got no doubt in my mind a lot were like you, Jesse, and that was probably the last trade.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I had plenty of options. We'd spoken about all of them, and in good depth too, with the potential of the next 3 weeks. We're only looking at 3 weeks, so disregard the season and whatever's happened. But I liked what I was seeing from him. A lot of people did. He was the most traded in last week. To be fair, for what it was, and it is still relevant for some, his break even was -7 or -4. So he was in the negatives. He rose 6.5K. That's how bad he scored. But it was a very early injury, flexed out for basically everyone. I don't think there was many lower scores than him this week. And it's just unfortunate, man. It depends where you have him too. If he's sitting in your 5'8", and he's your backup 5'8" to a Munster or something, you're just expecting a rest from him next week. And that's what I was expecting. I was thinking surely Storm have got this wrapped up. He'll rest. My backup 5'8" is Purdue, who's on a bye. So I definitely will not have a 5'8" at the very least, if that's the case. And that's why I opted for him. 3 tons in his last 5 games. Tigers are playing well. He's playing really well. And then it just struck him down. And it's just shit house. And if it was your last trade like myself, it's just unlucky, man. I know a lot of people did it. And you just got to roll with the punches. A lot of people be in the same boat. And that's what I'm trying to just banking off is, admittedly, this week is probably bad for a lot of people out there because of the unexpected restings and everything else. Next week is going to be probably about as bad, if not worse. So we'll just have to kind of see. But yeah, so everyone's in the same boat. If you can field a good team or even just 17, you're in a decent position. So
4 weeks, Jesse, 4 weeks ago, I told you to get Walsh. You didn't. 2 weeks ago, I told you to get Stags. You didn't. A week ago, I told you to get Stags. You didn't. And then I turned around and said, actually, based off what you're telling me about your the buys and resting, not buys, sorry, but the restings and Munster and where you're sitting at, I said Dewey's the safest play. I thought Dewey, after what he's done, was the safest play, and he helped everything for you and your team. It's the luck of the draw, and it's something that I'd like to actually talk about moving forward. And it's off Supercoach, but these guys going low in tackles, he went very low in the tackle and copped a full Taumalolo bloody body through his face, and his face craved in. But let's look at Sam Walker, who also we'll talk about. It went low and copped a knee straight to his bloody face as well. So it's these little guys having to go low to avoid all the other things. Unfortunately.
Yeah,
I suppose that's probably a topic for tomorrow's show.
Yeah,
realistically, but how many times do they change what a tackle is and tackle and technique and what you can and can't do? And the little guys, you're not taking Tamalolo down. You know what I mean? You've got to try and get him in a certain way, and if you just get wrapped up, you're unconscious. So it's
just one of those things, though. That's Supercoach. The saying of that Supercoach is just that's how you have to manage it. Like I've got Grant with a suspension for 2 freaking weeks. Like that's Supercoach. It's just it is what it is.
Can't let it ruin your week.
Yeah. My Wade Egan play looks good now.
Yeah.
Even though it's been shocking. Travie boy, you Storm rested a few. They've done I think they'll do some this week, some next week. I reckon next week will hurt plenty more as well. So this week, Katoa, Meany, Coates, and as Jesse told me about, and it went under the rug. No one's spoken about the poor bloke. Josh King as well gone. So a few restings there, and obviously Grant suspended.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it was this week because it's at home. So I kind of thought maybe they might play this one out and then rest next week to go up to Brisbane. It's not a hard flight to get to Brisbane, but Broncos really fight it out. Would have been a really tough game up there, but it is what it is. What do you do? Warbrick back this week, which is very nice, although he's in the extended bench, but I love seeing his name. I reckon he comes through, but that does hurt when you've got everything else. So unfortunately, when I saw Katoa's name, I just went, yep, I'm done for this week. I'm now playing one man down. So yeah, that hurts for me.
That is. So you have no AE at all?
Nothing. No, I'm one man down.
Okay. Okay. Your Roosters boys, Jesse. Sammy Walker, Gornsky, HIA, out for this week. There's talk he actually could be out for at least the rest of the regular season, and they'll rest him that last week just to make sure he is right for finals week 1. So big blow for anyone who did jump on there. But shout out to Trav who has made these notes. Hello to Marky Mark, because we have seen in the past this year that when Sammy Walker isn't there, Marky Mark seems to do extremely well. Granted, he has actually been starting to find some form again, and Walker discovered he has one of the most exciting outside backs at his disposal.
Well, he got really good last week because Sam Walker wasn't on the field. So
yeah,
outside of that, he hasn't been doing much, just in little bursts. Yeah, no, that's I've been watching intently, and I'm just looking at it now, going, cool. Sand and Savala, the combination that made Nawangani Tawasi exceptional this year. So I'm eager for that. He's the biggest beneficiary of his injury, but the Roosters will probably cop that, considering he's been the outlay of 20 assists in the last month and a half. So it's pretty rough for him. I would imagine that if their position is safe enough in the 8, that they will just rest him until finals. But look, I can see the reason why Melbourne's rested some of their guns is like the Roosters do not beat Melbourne, especially not at Amy Park. It just doesn't happen. So I don't know, how long's it been? 20-something games in a row.
24 games between Melbourne and Penrith.
Yeah, it
so
just
you're
doesn't
telling
happen.
me there's a chance?
Yeah, no. No, I'm not. Stranger things have happened. But yeah, outside of the rest of the side, look at how they used to. They were playing well earlier in the year before Sam Walker came back into the team. And then everything kind of shuffled, and you can see there was a lot of a disjointed attack and weird things were going on. And then they got into a really good role. I think they just kind of go back to what they were, but it's not a nice matchup for them.
Yeah, you're spot on. Tubbo is obviously back for the Roosters in that one as well. For the Raiders, Savage out, unfortunately. Horrible blow for him. His season is over. I've been really, really impressed with his season, actually. I think he's been playing much tougher this year, which is obviously something that Ricky has been very public about him in the past, and he's definitely done that. He's still got his flashiness, but I think he's been sensational this year, so that's a big blow. But they do get Hot Tamale back, so that's a great advantage to have. Anyone out there who somehow kept him for whatever reason is laughing.
Yeah, there's a few in our groups that have been messages saying that they've still got Tamale. We're just never able to get him out. There's a few out there, but what a luxury to be able to bring when Savage goes out. You can bring Tamale back as the Raiders just about to lead into the finals. Like, unreal.
It's pretty crazy too that people still own him, considering he's 565k. Like, he's not 300 or like in a weird low 400s or something where he's kind of hard to get away from. 565 is a good amount of coin to have an injury for. How long's he been out for? A couple of months?
Weeks or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, if you still held on to that, bloody hell.
No,
yeah, you played last game in round 14.
10% of people. There's still 10% owners.
10% owners overall.
Yep.
Well, in the top 10%, he's owned by 25 people. In the top 10%.
That's why people are where they are.
16, 17. So, yeah, no, anyone that's still playing doesn't have him. So, look, he's going to be a really good addition for a lot of draft sides out there because he's pretty much guaranteed to be on your waivers if you're in a grand final, potentially. Outside of that, yeah, if you're trading him in, it's a really good matchup. So, I don't mind it. It's just a long layoff.
Just a quick one for our draft grand final. Jesse, are you making a play for him?
Me? I'm going to reserve my right to talk about the grand final before it happens, especially on a podcast. So good luck, Josh.
That's a juju thing there, right there. That's
Josh, get in those waivers. I'm warning you right now. Let's go the Sharkies. Unfortunately, Cam McInnes, that's a huge cruel blow for him. Out ACL now. He'll be back midway through next year. It's a huge blow. He's a massive heartbeat for that side. But they make a huge return in KL Iro. And Calhoun is the guy that does replace McInnes in the pack there. So he might be a nice little pick up for those that are playing grand final draft. He should get some pretty good minutes, actually. So if you are desperate for someone, maybe have a look at him if he's available. But yeah, Kyle Iro, Trav, it's a huge addition back. And against the Knights, he could be looking at a massive score.
Huge score, and I don't reckon he's lost a beat. I reckon it's Iro. He's a freak. He's come back from injuries before. It absolutely teared it up. So get him in. There are people I know that have held him. If you can get him off the waivers, go and get him for your grand final because I reckon he's a shoe-in for a big game against the Knights. And on the other side, it sucks for Cam McInnes, 21% owned overall. Unfortunately, it's in the top 10%. That hurts. Yeah,
big time. He's been so reliable, McInnes. The jewel, obviously, a lot of people playing him as a hooker. You just don't want to see anyone go down with an ACL, but he's just safe and sound. 55 points a week. Yeah, it's a tricky one to sort of replace at this stage. But you're right about Iro. Hey, I reckon he's just going to go out there and blitz it. He's up against Dom Young and Schiller. Great defensive matchup for him anyway. So I think if he's on waivers, he's got to be your first priority, I would think. Yeah,
I agree. Go on, Jesse. Rip into the ins and outs. I don't think I've missed anyone there. Have our boys anything else you want to talk about from team list?
The ins and outs, not particularly.
Just a heads up, guys. We have pre-warned Jesse. If he dribbles too much, he will be muted. So here's a test.
Fly through the outs.
Okay. Well, the outs, The outs are all just okay. It's irrelevant who the outs are, to be fair, because it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Dylan Edwards is the number one most traded out in the top 10%. He's rested this week, but he's back. You would assume next week. For a lot of sides that would have Drinky as their other fullback. Like I understand having a number now and wanting that and changing your flex out or whatever because Drinky's a playing player. You're probably going to get him next week while Drinky is out. So it's a very confusing little play that you've got to make here because
unless you're a head-to-head and you want to win your head-to-head today.
Oh, for sure. It's got to be play your playing players this week. Don't trade a fit guy out because he's not playing next week, like Drinkwater, for example. But if you've got one or two trades left too, perfect. You can just either get him back or do something else, maybe a bit more rogue with it. But number one most traded out, and he's 824k, fair. Grant number 2, Dewey's number 3, Cleary's number 4, Garrick's number 5. They're not playing, they're not fit, injured, whatever it is.
Well, Cleary,
I think there's really too much on there, but Cleary out as well. You're just probably going to want him back next week, or do you reckon there's a chance at all these guys get a rest next week?
I was just thinking that.
Minutes,
I was like, is there a real possibility that Ivan actually just goes 2 weeks off? Thank you. You better come back and win me a comp.
Well, that's what, there's a chance. There has to be a chance. I would have thought he would have done this rest next week.
Well, they're not going to beat the Bulldogs this week now. They're still going to be 31 points. The Roosters are 28. I think, is everyone banking on the Roosters to lose to the Storm? So then it doesn't really matter. Penrith then would have to go, which means they won't fall to 8th. Penrith are still fighting potentially for a top 4, but they're not anymore because they've just rested their team. So, yeah, I think there is a very real chance that they've just gone, whatever, I don't care where we go. We've made the finals. We're going to be in the bottom 4 now. At worst, I've got to go to Brisbane, potentially maybe across the border to New Zealand. Yeah.
I hope it's Brisbane. What a game. I'll be going to that. If that's a Broncos Penrith first week of the finals game, I'm there. Huge. That's going to be a ripper.
Yep. So it's a tricky one, hey, because you got to just assume that they're going to be back next week, but there's every chance they aren't, and then that's catastrophic. But 6, 7, 8, you got Sam Walker, Katoa, and Tedesco. The Katoa trade out I think is a bit hasty, but again, half the teams that I'm seeing, shown to me at the moment have like 2 playing forwards in their second row, and you've just got nothing. There you go. I've seen so many where either Kane Bradley's the second or third second rower they've got in there, or it's like Yo's out. There's just a mess. And Nikora,
I'd be playing Royce Hunt if I could this week.
Any green dot will do. Yeah, so that's you just got to make the play, man. You got to in a grand final. You got to do something. At the moment,
name Tui, please, Des, for Trav's sake. Name Tui Simpkin.
Yeah, please. Tedesco's number 8. The first player in the top 10 trade outs in the 10% that's actually fit this week, but he's playing Melbourne. So if you just go back and have a look at the last scores that he's put on Melbourne, 64, 33, and a 41. Not good at all. But the thing that you will want Tedesco for is the week after against the Rabbitohs. So if you got a play to get him back in for round 27, his last scores against the Rabbits have been 101, 140, and 135. And that's just going back to like the beginning of 2004 round. So this is very recent games. They're not old. So I don't really like that one at all, to be fair, because he's fit too. Who's in a position where they're trading out fit players?
Man, and the Roosters are not resting anybody. So they have not locked a finals position away. The Dolphins and the Sea Eagles are thereabouts. If, obviously the Sea Eagles can still make it mathematically, but it's pretty hard to catch up 81 and 72 point differential. So they need the Roosters and Dolphins to lose considerably and the Sea Eagles to win by a fair bit. The problem is the Dolphins, and they have a solid matchup against the Titans this week and have a better point differential. So the Roosters are going to be playing hard and out there. So I think this is if the Teddy's going to get a good score, Teddy, it is this week against the Storm, just to lock that away. The other thing too is the Roosters have a potential to win the next 2 weeks and move up the ladder, and they don't want to. I don't think the Roosters really want to be playing an 8th because they want to avoid coming to Brisbane, and they definitely want to avoid going to New Zealand. So I think the Roosters are going to fly out, or not fly out, but be flying and try to put some points on and really go for these games. I love the Teddy play, so I don't know why you'd be trading him out.
Yeah, no, exactly. Who's the alternative if it's not going across to New Zealand and playing? It'd be playing Penrith, wouldn't it?
Cronulla.
Depends on
Cronulla.
where Cronulla finish. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd happily take that one matchup out of all the others. So
That's right.
yeah, yeah. So I just don't understand it. Again, it is very low at the moment, and it's obviously Tuesday night. But yeah, it's only 2.3 trade outs in the top 10. A lot of people are working out, 30% almost are doing Edwards. So yeah, I just don't see any reason at all to trade Teddy out. And the same could be said for Drinkwater too. Particularly this week. Like, you don't have him next week. I understand it. He's still got it's a half decent matchup. It's against the Broncos, with no Reynolds too. So he's not going to be under those high balls that he seems to get ripped up whenever they play each other. I just think, yeah, at the moment it's a green dot. Like it's another player, especially from a week that we've had. But
Keep
Drinkwater
an
out.
eye on late mail regarding Reynolds. He's on the extended bench.
Well, there's one that we didn't really mention. So yeah, anything on Drinky though? I just say if you're gonna trade him, just do it next week when you need a player.
Correct. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it this week. And he just come off the back of 106 that he got in 10 minutes on the weekend. So
yeah,
he can do anything at home. Loves to play at home. Plays the Broncos, Queensland Derby.
Hey, another one.
It's two Queensland derbies this week.
You got two this weekend, Jesse.
There you go. I'm telling you, I don't know how they do it. There's only 4 of them. They do it every week. So does everyone I just want to know, the listeners, they have to understand they're now that they've queued in, because I say there's a Queensland derby every week, surely by the times we've mentioned it, they're going, you know what, I think he's onto something. There friggin' is.
To be fair, I've noticed it a lot more.
I think people don't say anything because you've got no idea, Jesse.
I don't, but the only thing I do notice is how many Queensland derbies there are. And then the last 10th is kick out, but I don't think there's any issue there. Kick out.
Goodbye.
So you probably got other forwards that are out, but either way, it's a lot of good outs, man. It's a wild week. For the trade-ins though, pretty good stuff going on. Number 1, Nico Hines in the all coaches. Let me narrow it down. Reece Walsh, 10%. So Reece Walsh is number 1, 815.4k. Traded in at the moment by 18.5% with a minus 31 break even. Holy moly. Yeah, look, if you got on Walsh around the same time that everybody got onto Edwards, you're in the green by some margin. So his last few scores, 147, 155. That's huge. 26 against Melbourne, Reece Walsh things, and then 134 against the Rabbits. So what's his 5-round average? It'd be like 104, 3-round of 109.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and that 3-round average is with a 26 in it. So yeah, he's averaging really well. He's doing good things, man. So he's got to be the number 1 target, I would say, going forward. Depends again on what happens with the Reynolds thing, because he's going to lose that goal kicking, which has buffed him up a bit. Points wise in the last couple of weeks in goal kicking, 12 last week, 28 the week prior. So when you're scoring 155, 147, goal kicking points of 28 and 12 aren't really making
still
a
over
big
130.
That's what I mean. Like the points are there. The points are definitely there without the goal kicking. So, yeah, shit. There's the Walsh play. Might be probably 2 or 3 weeks too late, but still a great games for the right.
I think it is still a great buy. The only concern I've got is that Reece Walsh was a really good buy 3 weeks ago because they lost Mam and Reynolds. And so then it had to be Ben Hunt and him having to make the plays. And you can clearly see that Reece Walsh is out there being a halfback in the fullback body. The only concern is if Reynolds does come back, that's then Reynolds and Hunt back in the halves. They're all going to be the ones that's going to play with the ball in their hands. So now it's less time or less ball in hand for Walsh. So, yeah, whilst I think he's a great buy because he's a good body that's going to actually play. I don't think you're going to get 155 and 147 again. You got to curb your expectations.
Yeah, like this matchup against the Cows is a good one. Again, they are away, so they're still in Queensland, but it's quite a way away from them. And then next week he's got Melbourne. You just saw him what he put up against Melbourne in the midst of all the 150s that he was putting out. What was it, like a 20-something? So it's very possible. But again, if Melbourne mass rests next week and it's an unrecognisable team, there's every chance he just goes and puts a big score on again. So I think, the form is good enough.
That 26 against Melbourne's got to be a little bit of an anomaly, even though it is Walsh, because that was the game that in literally 10 steps, both their halves get injured, and then Cobbo gets injured with 25 to go. Like, it was just a bit of an anomaly. It was a weird game. So I, even though that is Walsh and that's expected, I think you just got to ignore that one a little bit more.
Yeah. To be fair, you look at his scores previously against them, though, 67 and a 32. So I just have to go back and have a look. All of them are in Amy Park. So at least this one's at Suncorp. That's the kicker.
What are you going to say, Joel?
I was going to say, I'll tell you what, I'm backing him to go very close to 150 this weekend against that Cowboys defense. The Tigers were tearing them apart at will at certain points in that game. Imagine what the confidence Walsh is in at the moment. Strapping on the knees gone. He said in the other day that his body's feeling almost 100%, which is scary. This time of year, most players aren't. And when Walsh is 100%, that's he can do some freakish things. So he's really enjoying the fact that the two main playmakers are not there as well. He's growing at the moment. I'd back him to go very close to that 150 mark again this week.
Yeah, still great trade, and again, number one trade in for a good reason. So number two,
before you go on this, I want to play a game with you two. So there's 4 Sharkies on this list. I'll quickly go. So Brayley, Hines, Iro, and Mulatalo. If you had one more trade left, but you were told you could only get one of these 4 into your teams, which one would you be getting in this week? And you're just hypothetically, you don't have any of these 4 in your team as we speak. Jesse, who would you be going for? Yeah.
This week I'd be taking Nico.
Trav?
For sure.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about it. I would take Nico straight up. I don't mind a close second, Mulatalo. I think he's just going to score enormous this weekend.
Not Iro?
No, I think Mulatalo is ready to go.
It's a big wing.
I would have gone Iro.
Mulatalo up against Dom Young. Yeah. But either way, I just think we'll get into captains and VCs and stuff down the line. But yeah, look, if there's 4 of them, we'll actually go all through 4 of them while we're talking about them in general. Brayley's number 2 most traded in. There's a lot of people with Grant out, with McInnes out, with just shit hookers like Watson and and that kind of thing. So it's just an easy swap. He's 689. He's been the best hooker for a few months now. So and good matchup. They got the Knights this week and then the Dogs next week. So yeah, it's a lot of work for him. Like it's great. It's Brayley's bread and butter. That's hard
easy
to say.
wins.
So, yeah, I think
get around Brayley.
Yeah, that's the one. Tim Brayley. Number 4. God, I was waiting for you to have a drink and spit it all out. Number 4, Nico. So a lot of people traded Sam Walker in for him last week. I was thinking it was under the guise of people trying to get a win in their head-to-heads and stuff with the intention of getting him back off the bye. And it could be the case, I think. But obviously with Cleary out as well, with Walker out and a few other things, you should have had him already, I would have thought, and just held on to him last round. The trade's more valuable than that. But a great buy, same as Iro. Again, probably a little bit reactionary considering he's been back for so long, but I think he comes back into it so well. So I wouldn't hesitate to buy Iro back in. And then Mulatalo's been flying for a few weeks too. So it's just the next week's matchup against the Dogs for these wingers, I suppose, just have to be a bit wary of. But the middle guys, it's pretty solid. Much on the Sharks at all?
Not much to add. Get him in if you can.
3, Tommy Turbo. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to, eat my words. I just said I wasn't into him last week. I just said he's probably busted. Pulls out 180 and just shits in my head. So he's got the Dragons this week. It's like crap. He's going to do it again. If you could choose one between now and the end of the year, are you picking Turbo or are you picking Walsh?
No, I'm picking Walsh. And I'm going to say right now, I'm going to make a huge bold prediction. Turbo will score under 45 points this weekend.
Under 45. Damn.
Under 45.
Yeah, he has only done that 3 times this year.
Which is a lot for him, to be fair. 3 times he scored under 45. Talking about Tom Trbojevic. It's insanity.
That's almost like you're saying he's not actually going to play this week against a Dragons team that's got next to no team.
It's one run for him.
That's a huge play. Answer your question. I'd take Walsh. I'm just not sold. I watched Turbo. I watched him dominate the Dolphins on the weekend. I get it. I'm still just not sold on him.
Yeah, and that's it seems like whoever's got the Dolphins are the team to target. So like he scored 180 against them, but you go back the last 3 weeks, Turbo 180, Walsh 155, Teddy 189. They're just 3 fullback scores against the Dolphins in the last 3 weeks. They're conceding. I think Josh actually put a post in the Legends group about it, but just narrow it down to 3 weeks. They're conceding on average 174 points to fullbacks in Supercoach.
Brimson.
Yeah. Whoever's a fullback, just hit him. Don't worry about any of these guys, man. But it's a good one. He's very popular trade in this week still with Turbo. But yeah, you just got to look at the last 5-6 weeks. Look at the whole season from Turbo and go back and listen to why I wasn't keen on him. 180 points on in one off week against a team who's just leaking. I don't know if it's enough, but I still like that he's got that sort of upside anyway. But running down a little bit, number 6, Marshall King. Again, the same reason why people be getting Brayley in. He's in good form. He's playing the Titans. He's tackling a shitload because they have to. He's getting some attack. I like it. I'm always down for a Marshall King trade in. I'm a bit biased, so yeah. What do you reckon?
He's been on fire. Love what I've seen. The 99, 104, 106 4 weeks ago. I mean, the 41's not great, but that was against the Roosters and they got belted. So he's got a good 4-round average. Has had to have a fair bit more say in the way they play. Katoa hasn't been great recently and has had really good moments, but hasn't been great. And I think Marshall King's had to take on the load a fair bit more, which is why I think the points has picked up. Yeah, I like the buy. I think he's a good pod play.
Yeah, he's got 104, 99 plus that 106 in the last 4 weeks. He's almost turned up. Well, he's pretty much turned up 3 out of 4 weeks leading up to it. So he seems almost like the hooker to buy over Brayley potentially. Yeah. With better matchups, I would say, between now and the end of the year, if you look at both of them side by side. And I think, just looking at the numbers that are trading Brayley in, going for that pod play, which subsequently doesn't become one anymore, I think Marshall King could be a good deviation, especially with the Titans this round. So, yeah, I'd just, look that way as well. Tino, number 7, people still getting him in. 100 points last week was really nice. He's only 500K. So, 50K cheaper than Kickout, for example, who was a popular trade out. Everyone he's a jewel. There's forwards. There's no sell for Tino. He's a no-brainer, I would say. But we spoke Mulatalo in number 8. Hudson Young in number 9. 595K. Very cheap for him. He's had a massive price drop. But again, his form hasn't been spectacular. But the Tigers are a good matchup. 595. He's got Tigers and the Dolphins. And I think people just looking at how much the Dolphins are conceding, or even both, Tigers and Dolphins, the Raiders, if you've got trades, they have the best draw to go home with. So any risk of resting Nicholson, that kind of stuff, you reckon at all, Joel, or just get him in, forget about it?
I'm in 2 minds with this. I feel like they might get a little bit out of resting him, but at the same time, because they've had 3 buys literally within about 10 weeks or so, I think they may want to keep playing and just gelling a little bit more. They obviously had a huge win and they were really impressive in the back half of that game on the weekend against Penrith. I think they might want to I don't think, and Ricky mentioned it, I actually don't think they started the game too well and let Penrith dictate things quite early. They won't want to get into that habit with these good teams in finals. So I do anticipate and predict that a lot of these guns will probably play. I think the question mark is, will you see like Nicholson and that on the bench next week, and players like Young might only get like a 40-minute stint or something? That could be a more realistic option.
Yeah, well, like up against the Tigers, the last time they played him was round 16. He played 55 minutes, but I'm thinking round 16 he was backing up from Origin. So that makes sense as well. He probably came off the bench for that 55 anyway. And he scored 59 points, so it was a good score. You look at the last 5, he's got, just going back from here, 63 against the Panthers with no attack, 62 against Manly with no attack, 44 against the Dragons, no attack, 81 against the Knights with 2 try contributions. and then 65 against Parrott, no attack. So the tries and the assists that
He's
he was
due.
really pumping out early in the year, yeah, big time. They dried up basically from round 16, with a couple of 3 contributions since round 16 he's had, and that's the only bit of attack he's had in general, with pretty much an average of around 60, and that would be all in just base, just doing what he's doing. So yeah, look, the next 2 matchups, just they're gonna concede points, and he's gonna want to score a lot leading into finals. I love the trade, I really do. I think it's a fantastic one, and
And the good
every
thing
other
with
game,
him, we haven't really heard much just on that injury either. Like since it came out, we haven't
yeah,
really seen him stretch it on the field. We haven't seen it really impact him at all. So I think that's all pretty positive move for him moving forward and for owners.
yeah, I would say so. Trav, anything on Huddy?
No, he's a really good buy. I agree with Joel, absolutely. I don't think the Raiders are resting anybody. I think with the buys that they've had, I think they've had plenty of rest. I think what they'll do is just limit minutes. Results don't matter. I mean, they haven't locked up number one. So if they're adamant they want number one, then they're going to have to play out to make sure they win. But I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. But I do also agree is that I don't think they haven't started well for a while. They haven't looked superb for a while. It's just that they've had incredible talent that have just blown teams away in the second half or for a period of time. So that's not going to win your finals footy, not against the competition that we've got at the moment. So yeah, I think what they'll do is they'll do what they've got to do to get the wins, but they want to play better. I think minutes is going to be the issue.
I think we all know that Ricky Stewart's a competitive bastard, and I think he's instilled this into this group. I think winning the mining premiership will mean a hell of a lot to this side and to Canberra, and I think that's what they'll be making sure they do. And to be fair, they've had a remarkable season so far, and I've got them right up there in the thick of things for finals. But I'd love to see them win the minor premiership. So Melbourne are breathing right behind them. They are sneaking up behind them. All it takes is one slip up from the Raiders, and it's all Melbourne's. But I think Ricky and the Raiders would do just enough to make sure they win that.
I think they had that slip up a few weeks ago when they lost to the Dragons. It's the reason why we're having this conversation. So I think they were okay.
Yeah, maybe that loss to the Dragons was like what Supercoach need to get some confidence in all of their Raiders, thinking they're all going to stay. Thank God that happened. Because the next 2 are going to be pretty generous, I would say. And the last player that's in the 10 is Lehigh Hopewadi. So this is the biggest case of chasing points I've ever seen.
Yuck.
Look, Lehigh's a good player. He's a great option. He was fantastic earlier in the year, both on the wing and at fullback. Recently, in Manly's shit turn of form, barring last week, he's not doing well. There was a concussion in there. There was a lot of positional change, fullback, wing, that kind of stuff. But yeah, 160 points. Like he's every chance he goes back to his 50s and stuff. But it's the Dragons, man. It's a hard one to predict. You don't know what Dragons are going to come out. They could hold him out. They could be defensive wall and stop him the entire game, or they could just roll over like last week, and he could score another 180 points. So, look, the benefit of is he's 464k. He's so cheap. It was just all those really bad scores. He just stayed so low. It's not going to help his price next year, starting off because his average is in the 60s. But yeah, he's very cheap. He's very, very cheap, and you can't really go wrong at the price. But yeah, that's really all I've got on him. I just think there's plenty of better options, especially at this point of the year. And I just really can't back Manly. I just can't do it, even with last week's scores.
That's exactly the reason why I mentioned about Turbo just before. And I think last week was a bit of an anomaly for Manly. They've been really poor before that. I think it was a very emotional day out at Brookie. It got to the point where even Turbo and DCE were getting along, which says a lot about the mood that was there on the day. And I just think the turnaround for the Dragons, they were absolutely embarrassed on the weekend. So I'm just anticipating them to be putting on much more of a fight this week. They need to, because to be fair, they haven't had a bad season. I think they've held their own quite well and surprised a few out there. So they don't want to be bowing out this year with a couple of big, heavy losses. So I think they'll be right up for this one to make a bit of a statement and say, look, last week was embarrassing. Let's get back. And I just think Manly are done for mine this year. It was a great win on the weekend, but I haven't seen enough for the last month to think they'll go out and put a massive score on again.
Yep. No, fully agree, Fully. That's a 10. That's a 10 in and outs. There's a few really good ins, definitely. And the outs, just got to do what you got to do to make a win happen this week. It's a very important week for head-to-head in general, but
for some.
for some, for a very limited few, the lucky few. Our trades.
Oh yeah, our trades. Yeah, we'll just crickets. I'll insert cricket noises into this on the audio version, and
perfect.
Our trades.
I'm trading
our
6
captain
chickens for a cow.
Trav, I want to ask you a question before we go into this, because I've got something I'm about to propose, and you might destroy this. Are you in a grand final?
No, unfortunately, I lost on the weekend.
Okay, so
shout out to our man Brent Hampton, the big guy out of Pack Lords. I lost
to do that.
I lost to him in the Pack Lords grand final, and I lost to him in our League of Inches cash comp with one man down. So I'm out.
So I forgot to check this. So shout out to Craig, Dino Dancers. Shout out to Pack Lords as well, our sponsor, for the overall competition. So Craig, Dino Dancers, is winning the comp 32,854. Nat's come up to second now, and it's only a 60-point difference at the moment. So very, very close. It's going to come down to the wire. And our round 25 score of the week was Will. Momax 408 1668. So message the page. I'll give you a couple of goodies, as well as a Pack Lords $10 break voucher as well. Just looking there. Shout out to Stephen, Parramatta Jaguars, who is coming last by 6,000 points. So you very much didn't have a great start and have given up. So shout out to you there, Stephen. You're doing well.
Good lad.
Good on you. Trav, you wanted to say something during that?
Nah, I'm all good.
Sorry. All right, so here's my proposal for you guys to make this last 2 weeks really, really interesting. You'll probably both say no. I know what Jesse's like. He's going to say no. He didn't go with us the last time. Do you want to open the floor up and we all have to go different captains?
Well,
why? Why would you do that?
Make it interesting.
Who's your captain?
Currently, who are you?
My captain this week?
How are we going to decide? Because I reckon we're about to say the same things. Go.
1, 2, 3. Nico.
VC Carraz, C Hines is what I'm sitting on at the moment.
I'm on a different VC. I'm on VC Haas.
I did have that too. And was going to say I'm tossing up between those two. There's a lot of options this week, but I think this is a really good week or going to be a really big week for captains, and there's going to be some decent scores. But yes, currently I'm on a pod of VC Carraz, although it's not really that popular, unpopular. He's 14.5 at the moment. It's the biggest VC, but and I'm on the biggest. I'm on the biggest captain, but I did that before I even looked at those, and now I've looked at it and gone, oh, bugger.
I wonder why. Like, I understand the restings for Penrith and Carraz and all that sort of stuff, but I'm surprised that he's the highest VC considering this week. It's a hard one. There's a lot of conflicting matchups. Is what the
Bulldogs will just murder Penrith this weekend. My gosh, if maybe Penrith have just got some extra stake in the Bulldogs, because this feels like it's a way to make the Bulldogs bloody wake up. This is let's put the Bulldogs in form week.
It's a feel good talent run, and he wants to see his next prospect.
Who are you on? Who are you on?
I was going to be a Hudson Young VC. I reckon he's due for something.
You are, that's right.
Yep. And a C on Nico was the go. Obviously, I think that's the main.
The three of us are on Nico, so how you can.
But hey, all three. The thing why I'm saying this is all three of us were on Teddy last week, and it literally just did nothing. And I just think being so close at the moment, we've only got a couple of players different. I thought it could have been cool for the last 2 weeks to make sure we all had different captains each week, and it could have really ruffled the scores and where things stood. But that's okay. I'm just trying to be an ideas man, but that's okay.
Well, we've all got different VCs. Our VCs are different, so
we'll do that.
Something good can
do that
happen.
this week. And next week we might do something and be prepared for it before we come on, so we know the order, and we'll go from there.
But as a shout out, I don't mind the Teddy VC this weekend. I reckon he's in for a big one against the Storm. I know he plays the Storm at Amy Park, but I just think he's a good option. I really like the Payne Haas call, and I was on Payne Haas. I changed it to Carraz. And again, I'm going to put it 3 weeks in a row, but well, no, actually, it won't be 3 weeks in a row because he's above 10% at the moment. But I love the Reece Walsh captain play too. I just think curb your expectations. Like Joel, you said 150. I'm thinking 110, 120 would be a really good score this weekend for Walsh. And I'm taking that as my captain for sure. So yeah, but I also think Jaden Campbell's a really good play this weekend against the Dolphins. He's currently at 3.5% captain. Drinkwater, I like as well because I think he'll play more than 10 minutes at home against the Broncos this week. He's currently 9.9. So yeah, this is a tough week to pick, but because there's a lot of options, even with all the outs, there's a lot of options for our captains of VCs.
Yeah, AJ Brimson for 160 this week. Just
Yeah.
a fun fact too on Teddy. Just a quick one, just to go back on his Storm record, because I don't think he's a play personally at all for a BC or a C shout. He scored 64 against them in round 21 this year, right? The last time he scored over 60 against them was in 2020. And he's played 7 games since then.
Wow.
He's only ever turned up against Melbourne twice in his career.
Flat track bully.
One 2015 and then another game in 2020.
Okay. Finally, before we go, Jesse's frozen again.
Yes.
He's done it a lot tonight. I think in this time he actually might be gone. I know he's back. I don't know. He'll probably speak jumbly for a while, but we're about to get out of here. Just quickly, Trav.
Yep.
Who is on your bench, just to make everyone aware of where our teams are at? My bench is Stewart, Dane Gagai, Matty Burton, who just can't score points to save his life, and Riley Smith. So there I am. I've got Royce Hunt not playing, and Geimer as my two non-playing guys who technically could be named. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
I have 16 players. I'm actually going to say I've got 15. I think I'm not counting Talon De Silva as a 16th, even though he can't drop out because I don't have enough numbers for his shitty score to drop out. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So sitting on the bench, I've only got 3: Tarpany, Wishart, and Stewart, and it's only because those spots, or they're the only ones that are green, and those spots I've got. So like in the front row forward, I've got Payne Haas and May. So Tarpany's just sitting there as he has been for weeks. In the 5'8", I've got Wishart and Campbell. So Campbell's just sitting in as a starter. And in the centre wings, I've got Lomax, Carraz, Mark and Nisako playing with Stewart sitting there and Farnworth and Garrick. So that's where it's at. And Edwards is sitting in fullback with a red dot. So yeah, I've also got Katoa sitting there in 2RF because I've got him out and no Yo. So that's all.
It's not that bad. To be fair, those 3 you've got, not the worst players to have there to cover your bacon. Jesse, who you got on your bench? Since you're gallivanting around and how good it is.
Yeah, so I've got Jed as one of them, so it's okay, but it's not fantastic. I've got Tarpany as one. I've got Azarko as another. I also have Purdue and Jed Stewart. So guys that I'm pretty happy to play, admittedly, most weeks. My 18 is a good 18. There's no one in there that I'm like, oh, I can't believe I have to play this guy this week. Besides, the entire team who are just letting me down, everyone is who I would have chosen. So yeah, I'm, no Edwards, no Dewey, no Cleary, no Yo, Katoa, no problems. We got this, boys.
Well, that's it. Good luck, boys. Big week coming up. Maybe VC loops will be happening to really separate us and go into the last week with who knows who's winning the golden inch at the moment. I think Jesse's slight favourites now after the weekend. So very, very close, but your team is looking pretty decent for this week. Good luck to everyone out there playing in any of the head-to-head grand finals, whether it be classic or draft. Good luck to all our League of Inches drafts that are getting into the business and the grand final this weekend as well. All 5 divisions, a few of you to go up and things like that. So exciting times. Thanks for listening. Hit that like, subscribe button, and goodbye to the boys. Good night, good evening, good morning.